is, and to be present, for a salesperson out there, we're sometimes we're so driven by our agenda, by our objective, by pushing our message. We have a key selling message to pitch, and we need to get the sale, and that we sometimes forget to think that.
Welcome to the Sales Problem Podcast, where we talk everything sales, success, and personal growth. Thanks for joining us. Let's get growing. Welcome back to the Sales Problem Podcast, and welcome to season number 3. We are kicking off a brand new season. We've got new guests, new episodes, and it is going to be amazing. Here's what we're going to give you today. It's the inspiration episode. So if you want to be inspired to take action towards your sales targets that you set for 2024, then stay tuned for our guest, Martin Lesperance. I'm your host, Daniel Burns, and joining me is my co-host, the always interesting, inspirational, and innovative Steve Comerford. Steve, tell us how you're doing today and what crank coffee are you drinking?
Daniel, I am drinking Cranky Pants, but I am very excited about season 3. This is unbelievable. I cannot believe it. We're into season 3. Excellent guests coming up. I'm looking forward to today's episode. As Martin would say, I'm dangerously good today. I got out of the hot tub a little while ago, feeling good. Got my Cranky Pants coffee going. It's nice. It's smooth. It's good. For those listeners, there's my Crank Coffee mug right beside my sales podcast coffee mug. Martin, we got lots of stuff going on here. But Dan, what Crank Coffee you got going on today? How are you in season 3 opener?
I couldn't be any better, Steve, because this year is exciting. I mean, this keeps getting better and we keep growing. And I've got Crank It Up in my Sales Problem Podcast mug right now. So I just want to remind our listeners that what we did last year is we went out and sampled all these different coffees, and finally we found the perfect partner. And it's exciting to us, if you've been listening, that we have a new partner to the podcast. That's Crank Coffees. So if you go to the website, which is always in the show notes, and you put in the Sales Problem 15, you can get Crank Coffee to your door and save a lot of money, all courtesy of the Sales Problem Podcast. We're growing and we're passing that value and those win-win partnerships onto all of our listeners. So thank you so much for your support. So now to the coffee talk's done. Now to the focus of our podcast. Let's go, because I'm super excited, Steve, for today. We've got Martin Lesperance on, and I want to describe Martin this way. He's an engaged father of 4. He's a husband to a mountain climber. He's a lover of real maple syrup. Don't give him any of that fake stuff. You got to have the good stuff. And he won North America's largest inspirational speaking competition, Speaker Slam, the same one that I entered. There was 250 people, and Martin got first, and there was even more people when he entered. So I'm excited for him today. He's 50% humor, he's 50% energy, and he's 100% emotion. Martin Lesperance is inspiration and action, and I am so excited that you're here with us today, Martin, on the Sales Problem Podcast. How are you feeling?
I am dangerously good. So, which is just on the edge, just past the I'm going amazingly great. So, I'm what a thrill to be with you guys. It's very exciting to be here.
Well, let's go straight into dangerous territory, Martin, because we're going to kick off season 3 with something our listeners have never heard from us. It's kind of a new segment, because when you think about the sales problem and you think about salespeople, one of the famous things is the elevator pitch. So what we're going to do, Martin, is we're going to throw you into an elevator. The doors are going to close. We're going to start going up a level, and on each level, I want the best from you. I want the nice, crisp, clean pitch on your, the best thoughts on a particular topic. So are you ready to jump into the elevator with me, Martin?
You know what, Daniel? I have to admit, I'm a stairs guy. I'm all about I'm all about physical. You gotta move to groove, and and you know what? If ever, I'll get on the elevator. But just so we know, let's use the stairs. Let's use the stairs. It takes a bit more time, but we have even more time to talk, because at some point we'll need to slow down because we'll need to catch up on our breath. But you know what? Okay, let's go on the first one.
I might already be winded going up to level 1, Martin. So here we go. Let's go to sales performance. Give us your perspective on sales and performance.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of sales performance and is, why are we doing what we're doing? Why is that objective the one that we're aiming at? And why is it so important? Because we tend in sales to be looking at the number and driving for the number. And as soon as you provide yourself and the team why it is so important to reach that number, then all of a sudden it makes sense. And I'm even going to translate that number into, what exactly are you doing? I'm going to helping people to do whatever. Then maybe it's not a number anymore to reach. It's people that you reach. It's not lenses that you sell inside your eyewear. It's parents and people that you actually enable to see better. So it's knowing why we're doing what we're doing and transforming that into actual beings on the other side of that number. And then I'm telling you, that number takes shape, takes life. It makes sense.
I love it. Let's keep walking up these stairs. We're going to level 2. Tell me about mindset. Give me your perspective on mindset. What's important about that?
Yeah. The when I hear mindset, I split that word, where that means that your mind is set. You set your mind. And some people will have a growth mindset, being able to, they might have a mindset, but they will be able to make it evolve. And some, it's fixed. And I think that in all these sales executives out there and all the sales consultants out there, we have a tendency to think that we must always know the answer to every question, to every objection, to everything, even to the people inside our team. We put this pressure on ourselves when nobody said it needs to be. So and a growing mindset. So I mean, mindset comes from emotions and thoughts, and what thoughts are you having right now? And at the root of that is your physiology, how you're actually moving that body. See, and that's why we're taking the stairs, man, because we well, you have only one machine to think and to feel, and this will drive your mindset. So you got to use it.
I love the energy you're bringing here, and I think we're climbing the stairs faster. We're on level 3 now. Tell me about building relationships.
Building relationships, to me, at the root of any relationship is the word trust. And when I think of trust, give me a split second. There's this book. It's not me. I don't get anything from this book, money-wise. The Trusted Advisor. There's a formula in there about trustworthiness that I go by and that I use sometimes in my workshops or in my keynotes and with sales teams and sales executives. Is this first variable of trustworthiness is credibility. Do you know your stuff? Are you a master of your domain? Then reliability. Do you deliver on what you promise? Do you walk the talk? Then intimacy? Do you create the relationship? And there is a denominator on that formula, which is self-orientation. Who are you serving? Are you serving yourself? Are you serving me? And if I can feel in a sales relationship that you, the salesperson, is serving yourself, you're going to completely ruin this formula. So you need it to make it about your customer, the person across the table, which I think links back to our why from our first floor, making it feel about them and not you. So trust.
I am with you, and we are now sprinting up to level 4. Let's keep this energy going. Tell me about engagement. How do we get people engaged? I think one of your specialties.
Yeah, well, the right now the data North America is alarming, and yet I find that it's not a good thing. It's like that. Good thing because I get to work, but I could come up with other stuff, So, but seriously, I mean, Gallup data shows that about more than 60% of employees right now, of workers, are disengaged, and close to 20% of the people out there are actively disengaged. They hate their job. They go to work backwards. They park backwards. Not for safety reason, just to get the heck out of there at the end of the day faster. So there's like an epidemic out there of a job is a job. And between you and I, an inspired employee or an inspired entrepreneur is a profitable employee, a profitable entrepreneur. And as soon as people call me up and say, Martin, I need you to come in. Can you come and inspire my team? I'm there. Of course, I'm in. I'm the inspiration guy. And then we get into the content of what it takes to be inspired.
I love that. We are on the final floor, and I've loved everything that you're saying. And Steve, jump in because
I'm exhausted,
we're
Dan.
we're at the top floor.
I'm still back on the first floor. You guys are way better shape than me. Hey, but Martin, you were in the military. Isn't it the rule in military that you have to back into your parking lot, that everybody needs to be faced out? Is that
Yeah.
Is that a fact?
There is.
Yeah.
It's a fact, and I can tell you a souvenir from my army days. Knowing that you are still on the first floor means that the people who are ahead of the peloton need to stop and walk back down the stairs, pick you up. We would put you on our back and we would bring you up in front of that peloton. That was what we needed to do back then. If I was in front of the peloton, they would say, Lesperance, stop. And I used to stop and then let the peloton go by, grab the last person in there and bring them to the front of the pack. So, Steve, we're ready to bring you up the stairs, man.
Dan's been carrying me for a few years, so I'm getting used to it. Hey, but Martin, excellent, very nice to meet you. And to start this off with a golden nugget that you want to pass along to our listeners. Most of the crowd is, they're salespeople, the business people, entrepreneurs. It's all about growth. It's all about succeeding, moving forward. Is there? You've mentioned a few already, but in your experience or in your life, is there something that kind of stands out as something you want to share with them as a kind of golden moment?
You know what, Steve? Let's rent a huge log home up north and do a retreat for 3 days, and we would have a family-size nugget. To share with the team. But the idea is there is one. And did you watch the Netflix series Suits?
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
A few episodes. Okay.
I'm a fan, Martin.
With Harvey Specter. And Harvey Specter used to say, he's there on my wall. I've got a picture of him with this quote, "You always have a choice." And this is biggest nugget I have for anybody, even for you as a parent, for you as an entrepreneur, for you as a kid, for you as a sales executive, you always have a choice. I mean, you have a choice to be present. You have a choice to be grateful. You have a choice to live your why. You have a choice to have fun. You also have a choice to be a pain in the and to put pressure on the people beside you, and to be always mad at something, to lose your cool. It's a question of choice. Now, nobody said it was going to be easy. My dad used to tell me that when I was a teenager. No, nobody said it was going to be easy. But you always have the choice. And some people will say, I don't have choices. Maybe the things that get put in front of you are not what you have chosen. But you always have the choice to do what you want to do with what is in front of you.
Very common. That was brought up in one of our other interviews, where the two things that you have is freedom and choice, and it's good that you bring that up. Then the lead into that is, like, where do people get it? Where do they take the wrong choice?
Yeah.
How does that happen? What do you do in that situation?
It's a question of accountability at some point. And
okay.
And we have 4 kids at home. Some are still teenagers, but you can't be a teenager all your life and say, it's not my fault. I love my kids, by the way. I love you guys. But it's never their fault, right? But at some point, this can't be it forever. So you need to be accountable. And there is a good formula for that, which is the Oz principle. And maybe you've probably heard of that, where you either live above the line or below the line. Below the line is you point your fingers. It's it's never your fault. Oh, confusion. I didn't know that. I didn't understand, and so on. Or it's the other department, or that's finance, that's HR, that's production, that's the environment. Okay, fine, that's below the line. Or you live above the line and you SOSD. You see it, you own it, you solve it, and you do it. And to me, the biggest hurdle in making that choice is you fail to be accountable for making it. It's that's it, man. Be accountable. SOSD. It's the only acronym I ever remember in my whole life, except spin selling back in the probably the year I was born. But still, SOSD sticks, and I use it with my kids. I see it, own it, solve it, and do it. It works. It's beautiful.
Well, I've written it down, so I'm gonna own that. I'm gonna own that one.
Oh.
Martin, I've been writing notes too. There's so much that's already come out in the short time that we've been on this podcast with you, and I really love that, the above the line and below the line. And I think I was thinking to myself, sometimes I slip below the line and I don't even know that I'm there. And then all of a sudden I go, whoa, hold on a second. So, something's wrong here. I got to get above the line. And that's such a great way to describe it.
And Daniel, it's an easy image to use even inside the team and say, okay, so can I go below the line for a minute? And then you vent, because sometimes venting is part of it, right? You get it out and then you say, okay, let's get back above the line and SOSD our way through this. So very cool.
I like it.
So Martin, I have to make a comment to our listeners that I've been following you for a while because I'm an energy guy. And right away, the first time I heard you speak, I just loved your energy. And I just want to congratulate you on being the Inspirational Speaker of the Year with Speaker Slam. And I'm just curious how that feels. Man, you were on a roll. And I love it because I love when energy just starts moving.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Daniel. It's an amazing honor it's the biggest inspirational speaking competition in North
Yeah.
America. I mean, and there were people there from the States, from Europe also participating. And when I performed on my first evening, can you believe that I was time disqualified? I went overtime. But yet I scored so high on the judges' scoring that I had a chance to be part of the wild card race, and I was able to get into the finals because of that. And when I got into the finals, there was no way I was going overtime, and not twice.
Lesson learned.
Oh yeah. So and then I went there, and I find my recipe when I'm on stage is I am there to give. I'm there to give. And it's not my story. Of course, I'm often the subject of the character inside the story, but the story is not mine. It's ours. My goal is to bring people in, to absorb them, have people almost on stage with me feel like they're part of the story, and then we give our point of view. And what a great story to be part of Speaker Slam and to be with people like you, Daniel, that have the Speaker Slam tattooed somewhere.
I won't
hearts.
show any listeners where. Yeah, it's that's a secret. But not only did I love your energy, Martin, there was this little yellow ball that kept showing up in everything you were doing, and of course piqued my interest. Tell our listeners what's this little yellow ball with a smiley face that I keep seeing everywhere. What's this all about?
Please tell me, Steve, Daniel, can someone that crosses your path during the day, can that someone influence the course of your day? For good or for worse, right? So that also means that all the people that cross your path, you have a choice to influence their day for good or for worse. And some people out there, they walk around with this core of negativity, this black ball of energy, stress, anxiety, frustration, sadness. I mean, open the news right now, and you got plenty of reasons out there. Change management, stress management is through the roof. So, and some walk around with this 365 days a year. It's not me, and it might not be you, but it might be us once in a while. You know, when it's not our day, when the things don't go our way, when we have some headwind, and we get into that black ball of energy, and this is not comfortable inside. It hurts. It's painful. So what do? We want to get rid of it, and we end up trying to give it to the people around us, and we try to infect them with that. And so you have a choice to walk around with that, or you have a choice to walk around with this one. And this, again, is a question of choice. You get to, of course, you're going to capture some of these black ball of energy, but there's always a way you can transform it into this. And I believe that you can choose to let yourself be inspired and become inspiring for others. And as soon as you are inspired, well, your day is a bit different. And then all of a sudden, just like a poet, an artist, you then become inspiring for others. So that's the recipe to that.
I'm loving it. And I can definitely resonate with that. There are days where you just feel like you're carrying something different. And, you know, there's days I struggle to convert the energy from negative to positive. And then there's other days where you got it. I think, you know, when you got that yellow ball and you've got great energy, things are rolling, you know, I love that. I want to ask you something. Yeah,
and
go
Daniel,
ahead.
now there are tens of thousands of these yellow Inspire balls all across North America in over 20 countries right now. in offices here, there, and everywhere. This is the best training binder I've ever come up with. Some of the training binders we put on the shelf, and when recycling day comes at work, we put it in the big bin. This gets to stick. It's here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes it's in the sales rep car. It's on the dashboard. Yep. It's everywhere. So, and that's, to me, that's the best reminder.
That is a great reminder. And I think we could all benefit from that reminder, having that close to us. I want to shift to something that I heard you say that really resonated with me. It landed with me. And I wanted to ask you about it. I heard you say the sum of the small choices we make is really what we are at the end of the day. Yeah. And I love that. Can you expand on that for us?
I actually, it's almost like the closing sentence of my keynote of the Inspire It's Your Choice keynote is, some people say it's the big choices in life that, and you got to think and prepare. And I say, no, stop it. It's the sum of all these small choices that you're making right now. The ones you're making right now during this interview, the one you're making right now for the viewers and listeners, the ones you are making right now while listening, while driving, while working. I don't know what you're doing at the same time, but it's all these small choices. When you add them up, we know now with the interest rates, with compound effect, all these small choices will end up defining who you are, who you become, and the color of your adventure. I mean, we become what we choose to be. A few weeks ago, I went back at Speaker Slam to do the words of wisdom. You know, at the end of the evening, there is that guest speaker that comes in. And the topic, Daniel and Steve, was reinvention. And at some point, I was thinking about this, and I'm there. Could we actually take out the of reinvention? Because, I mean, on a daily basis, you get to decide who you are and who you become every day, at every moment, with every choice that you make. So you're actually always in invention mode. I mean, if you make different choices, then maybe you are reinventing. But I mean, and Giovanni Marsico talks about identity engineering. So we are who we are with all the small choices that we make.
Martin, I think that's one of the best things said on the podcast. I absolutely love it. And if you're trying to go somewhere and you're looking at those choices and they're not the ones that are going to point you in that direction, well, you better reinvent your choices and start pointing those towards the thing that you want or the person you want to be. So Thanks for that.
Sometimes it's as simple as what's written on a Nike shoe. I mean, just do it. I mean, ask yourself, what do you want? Curious. And then do it.
Yeah, I almost go the other way though. You know, if that reinvention is in your head, I'm almost like, aren't I good enough? Like, why am I having to reinvent myself all the time? I like your point around inventing, right? Just continuing to evolve and invent and create something that's a little bit more than what you want to be or how you want to move forward, right? Sometimes I struggle with that, right? You're always like having to come up with something new. I disagree.
And I'm with you, Steve. I'm more of the just keep on your path. I mean, you will never. You are who you are because whatever you have done and who you have become in the past years. Let's celebrate that and be grateful to who we have become. What we will become it starts today. It starts with the next choice that you're making.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll tell a little story, and it's not to pat myself on the back, but it was this morning, and making choices, right? So guests down for the weekend. It's busy. I had to run out, get some things at the grocery store, and I'm, full throttle. I got to get going. I wanted to get in the hot tub. I had a direction, but I stopped at the cash because there was an old gentleman and he was struggling with his credit card. And the cashier was saying, "Oh, yeah, I think you've forgotten your PIN. You'll have to go back to the bank." And I typically you'd think I just go like I need to get my stuff and get out and keep going. But I backpedaled. I surprised myself. I backpedaled and I kind of caught the cashier's attention and I said, does he need any help? I'll pay for his groceries, whatever. And she kind of waved me off and he had some cash in his wallet. And so he left. What I didn't understand at the time when I went back to pay for my groceries, she actually thanked me. She said, that was really nice. And so the impact, I thought I was trying to help the older gentleman, but I feel, I hope I did, that the impact that I had on the cashier and making her day maybe a little bit nicer.
I love this, Steve, because and at the same time, this is a key topic that we talk about in the Inspire keynote is to be present.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no better gift than to be present. Even the word present means gift. And you were there because your mind could have been somewhere else looking at the magazine rack right beside the cash. You could have looked at this guy and this going like, is this ever going to end? No, you were there. You were actually present, part of the movie that was right in front of you, which nowadays is somewhat rare. It's a huge challenge and we've been reading that forever. Be present, be in the moment, this and that. Yet, where are we most of the time?
Yeah,
it's that beautiful thing.
On that phone.
So bravo, Steve.
Well, I don't want to pat on the back. I just it's well, anyway, we just need to be nicer. Period. So I'll go. I like your analogy about above the line, below the line. Yeah. But I'm going to go to the people that are on the line. They don't want to go down. They don't want to go up. They're just happy in their they're comfortable in their comfort zone. It's like, how do you tap into that personality, that behavior to move them above the line to have that change? What would you say there?
That's interesting because I mean a lot of people are not on this journey of growth. I mean, and if they go into a bookstore, they don't go into the growth section and this and that. And no, they go to I want to find the next 50 Shades of Grey success book, whatever. But the idea is, what do we do with these people? I mean, how do we get the fire under? And there is in one of my keynotes, which is called OK Go, is I compare engagement and life to a heartbeat. An ECG. You've ever done an electrocardiogram? Have you?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Very easy to do. They plug you up and then they measure the energy inside the cells of your heart. And it comes out with a graph, sometimes goes up, down, polarization, depolarization, and so on. And I find that our lives are about the same. Some people want only ups. They want pleasure all the time, and get an ECG with your heart going up there. I mean, sorry, you won't make the day. Some would like it normal. Can you just give it to me normal? No stress, no nothing. Some people even relate it back to, can we go back to a pre-pandemic thing? Yeah, can we go back to normal? Well, a normal heartbeat like this means you're flatline and you are dead. So, and I mean, life is full of ups and downs. That's the journey that we are in. I know some people are in survival mode. They survive life. They go through life. And some are into adventure mode, where life is full of ups and downs. And every time there is an up, there must be a down somewhere, because life is average at some point. there are ways to fire the people up. I mean, give them a why to go for,
Mhm.
and do you have kids?
2 boys, yes.
2 boys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Boy and a
did,
girl.
did you ever lose nights of sleep because of your kids?
Oh,
Yes.
I've lost count.
Was it worth it?
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yes.
So it was
Yeah.
worth it. So it's worth it when it's for other people. Now ask me to go to bed past 11:30 at night, I will be destroyed for a couple of days. But yet when we do it for others, then it's worth the sacrifice. It's worth doing the extra effort. It's worth raising your hand up to do the overtime, to change department, and to go on and on. So give them a reason, a true reason. And that's how we started a couple of minutes ago. Give them a true reason of why we're doing it. The people we are influencing at the end of the line. And all of a sudden, maybe these people that are just there on the line, maybe all of a sudden, maybe you'll see the energy go up inside the group.
Well, excellent. I like that. And I will throw another curveball at you, I guess, in that there are so much negative news out there, right? So much negativity, a lot of naysayers. We run into, people that we interview and they've progressed through life because they dismiss all the naysayers. But it is tough to get past a lot of that. Like, where do you see that? How do you battle through that? Where do you get the boost to get past all those naysayers?
You know what? All the naysayers and all the bad news that is out there, when you open up the news, is affecting me. It does reach me. I mean, when you look at the unthinkable wars that are out there, where people don't sit down to talk to one another, when you look at the engagement scores that are, I mean, think about it. More than 60% of people are not engaged in what they do. Does this it affects me every day, and I think it fuels me to do something about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think I can influence what is happening across the world. But what I can do is at least influence the people that are inside the organizations here, there, and in everywhere. I mean, because these people, there are friends, there are family, there are cousins. These are people that right now a job is a job, and again, an inspired employee is a profitable employee. And if we can drive the engagement inside organizations out there, just imagine a world where everybody loves their job. Wouldn't that be completely unreal?
Yeah, it would be a good place.
It would be an amazing place to live in. I mean, everybody loves what they do. And just go to any businesses right now or call them up. You will see the type of reception you get. And sometimes I look at some organizations, now I understand why your business is going online, because you don't know how to talk to people anymore. You don't seem like you care. I'm sorry to say, a lot of retailers out there, I know why your business is going online. Your people in stores are not talking to us anymore. They don't even want to be there. So I am going to shop online. So it's my biggest motivation right now is to inspire people out there so that they are happy, motivated, engaged, and they end up loving what they do. And if they love to do what they do, their business will be able to make a difference in the world, be profitable, and then they'll even be happier, and so on and so on.
Is it a contagious piece? In building that, it just and then it builds from there in that positivity or that being in a better place.
It is. We're living inside an epidemic right now, also of solitude, where people they care about only what they do, and that's all there is. And when you look at the history of mankind, of Homo sapiens, what got us through the years is our capacity to create social links. It's not to be on social media, to create social links, to talk to one another, to gossip, to do culture, to sing, to dance, to chat. And right now, people don't do that anymore. We want to bring people back into the office so that they gossip again. Because isn't that funny when you think about it? But because that's what weaves in the people together. So that's what we need to focus on right now.
So, Martin, I knew this episode was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. So I'm excited. We're in season 3, and you're bringing the goods. You're absolutely nailing so many things for our listeners. There's something I want to come back to and highlight, because it is something that I struggle with, and I want to see if I can kind of connect some of these dots. But it's on that concept of being present, because so many of our listeners are high performing people, and they're thinking about what's next, and they're thinking about, climbing and getting more. So they're in the future of what they're trying to get. And I think for some salespeople, what I've seen anyways is, and experienced myself, is it's hard to be present sometimes. And when you're not, and you're there in a selling situation, you're in front of a buyer, but you're not being curious. You're not really listening to them. And I think the point is, comes back to your why. Why are you there if you're not going to be present? And are you really going to be able to help somebody? Are you really going to be able to connect and create a relationship if you're not there and present and finding out how you can help them, how you can solve some problems in their business? So that just kind of hit me and was connecting the dots, and wondered if I tied some of those ideas you gave us together for salespeople specifically.
Well, it is. And to be present, for a salesperson out there, we're sometimes we're so driven by our agenda, by our objective, by pushing our message. We have a key selling message to pitch, and we need to get the sale, and that we sometimes forget to think that why we're doing it. We're probably, if only it was a solution to what they are living right now. I mean, if they don't got a problem, then why would they buy anything from you? So I think you need to be present in the moment right now. Stop the movie that is playing in there. Use this one. Focus on the people out there. Be here right now, not somewhere else. In the next question, in the strategizing, just live it. We're human to human. Some people say we are logic. I say we are biologic. We're humans. We have emotions, and people tend to forget that. And we need to sell with that and talk to emotions.
Yeah, it brings me back to what you said earlier too about, are you the hero in the story, or are you letting your clients be the hero, and you're just the guide, and you're helping them get to the spot that they want? So
remember those books we used to read? The book where you were the hero and changing pages according to what you wanted? Did you ever read that?
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them be it.
So I've got to ask you, Martin, I've been curious about this the entire episode. I said it in your intro. What's the differences between maple syrups? Why is it real maple syrup that is so important to you? And tell our listeners about this. Steve's got some maple syrup here. So, I mean, we're Canadians.
I got a story to tell. Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Martin?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I could say that I slept with 10 of my brothers and sisters, on the floor of the living room, but I was a lonely child, and I went to Disney World. I forget how many times when I was a kid, okay? And every time we used to go down there, we used to eat at Denny's restaurant, for breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah. And they used to bring you this syrup and say, this is maple syrup. And I'm like looking at my mother and father, and I'm like, this is no maple syrup. That's not what I like with my pancake. And then they when we used to come back up here in Canada, we would savor the real maple syrup, not this corn or whatever out there. The maple syrup comes out of a real maple tree. They exist. So, man, Steve, what is your story?
Hey, this is real maple syrup from Andre and Shirley Deroche. They're up in Georgian Bay. They're family friends. Anyway, why I like this, and I'm glad on the maple syrup, because this stuff is like top notch gold.
Oh.
But he is in his 80s, and he has a 20-acre property with his own maple shack. He's got all of the gear, and again, he built it himself while he was running his own business. An unbelievable, inspirational guy. But yeah, I'm on with the maple syrup. A little shout out to Andre and Shirley, and I'm glad. I think I'm gonna have to take a spoonful of this after the show.
Oh yeah. When I do marathons or triathlons or Ironman, I well, I eat. The gels that I have are maple syrup based. That's the only gels that I have is maple syrup. They add salt or whatever to it, but this is the best boost ever. My wife says I put maple syrup on everything.
Guys, I think we're on to something here.
That's Buddy the Elf, I think. But Buddy the Elf put maple syrup on everything. Yeah.
If there are any maple syrup sponsors for the Sales Problem Podcast, we've got coffee. It's the next logical step, I think. So if anybody listening is connected to maple syrup sponsors, you send them our way to the Sales Problem.
Maybe Crank Coffee has some maple syrup in the back store.
There we go. So, Martin, I have to ask you, you've got a busy life. You've got 4 kids. You're speaking. You've got your business. And our listeners are the same. I mean, we're talking about stuff that's best practices, but in reality, life tends to get in the way. So how do you try to do all these things that we're talking about when we've got somebody with a busy life and they're really trying to cram that in and the suitcase is already full and stuff spilling out over the sides and they've got such a busy life? How do we fit all that in and maintain any balance in our lives?
I like it. And when you just Google search online work-life balance, you'll find that plenty of various interviews with different people. Some say it's, when you say work-life balance, that means that you have some on each side. So they're like opposing forces. And who said they needed to be opposing forces in opposition? What if it was work-life harmony or and
synergy.
What I find is when you are happy and energized at work, you will go home and you will probably be happy and energized at home. And when it's the opposite also, I mean, when you are happy and energized with the family, if you are present, if you are there, you will arrive at work and be the same. And you can flip that also. If you're unhappy in one of these spheres, there is a good chance you're going to the other place and you are dragging this with you. I mean, the good old article from back in I think it was the 70s. My dad proposed that to me when I was young. When you go home with the monkeys under your shoulders, that dates from way back then. But that's it. I mean, if you are energized at work and you get in the car at the end of the day and your heart is fulfilled and you feel like I'm going to talk about myself, like a Superman I get home and I transform into a super dad because that's how I feel. That's the energy I have inside me now. And when I see people that then do we get into the how many hours is there? I mean, maybe there is a certain point where you need to realize that maybe you're not giving enough of hours on each side. But the idea is, at some point is, what do you want? Some people take vacations and they're on their smartphone the whole time. Some people are at home and they work on emails, and they're not with their spouse or with their family or with their partner. So it's, is it number of hours in a day, or is it the energy that you actually bring to the table when you arrive at home? So I don't know. I'm curious to think what you guys think too.
Well, I'm on the work life synergy.
Yeah.
Balance, I think it just gives you the wrong impression that you have to even things out. I think synergy is a better fit, right? It just has to work together, and you have to kind of go with the flow. Sometimes you're like maxed out at work and there's some, you have to take some withdrawals. I borrow from Dan's philosophy, or you have to take a few withdrawals from the home bank, and then later you have to make some more deposits to kind of keep that life moving in the right direction. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I'll jump in because I think that energy is also a matter of what you put in and your intentions. It doesn't just show up the minute that your alarm goes off and boom, you get kicked in. And well, if you're drinking crank coffee, you probably get a bit of a jolt. But I think it's intentional. We have to set up our days, and everything is going to bring us off course. But if you've got that why that Martin talks about, and you've got those things to always come back to, and you've got the gratitude, and you're putting things in like you're exercising and your food, all these things are going to give you a good output. But if you're not putting good in, you're not going to get good out. And I think we really have to be mindful, intentional of that. And we have to put it in so that we experience that, because it's not going to show up on its own. It has to be through us, from us. And Martin, it's a choice. I mean, this is what you've given me. Point. This episode is a choice, and I can go one way or I can go the other way, but I got to keep the car between, the paint and keep driving it forward, because everything's going to pull me off course, and I've got a choice what I do each day. Truly.
Exactly. Move your body and move your mind, and walk with your heart. That's it. I mean, at some point. Steve, sorry.
Well, one of the phrases that I wrote down too was the color of your adventure. I like that phrase, in that you can paint and you could color your adventure whatever color, but it's up to you, right? Yeah.
Question of choice.
Love it. Yes. So, Martin, fantastic talking to you. I feel inspired. I will definitely be a good host tonight for my my dinner guests. But how can people get a hold of you? You've worked with a lot of top shelf companies. What else can you share with our audience, our listeners?
Well, I mean, look my website, www.martinlesperance.ca, and all my contact info is there. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. And call me up. And the idea, what I mostly do, I remember I can now say some good friend of mine, it's a huge multinational organization, called me up 2.5 years ago and said, Martin, I need you to come and inspire my sales team. Are you in? And I said, of course I'm in. I'm the inspiration guy. So I go in and I'm there. Dang, I need to move my vacation by 1 week to make it fit. So I sit down with my wife and I say, hey, honey, I think we need to move our vacation. And she said, okay, let's do it. So we move our vacation. I go to that event. The VP uh, international sales is also present. He falls in love with the message, and now we've seen the international team 4 times.
Wow.
With various content, depending on where you are, what you need. There's plenty of content that we can bring to boost the morale and the engagement of the team. And again, I mean, an inspired employee is a profitable employee. That's it.
Well, it is season 3, and we did not disappoint with this first episode. I think we brought the energy, and Martin, the inspirational speaker of the year, brought us a ton of inspiration.
And the maple syrup. Maple syrup.
And Steve brought maple syrup. But really, for all of our listeners and salespeople that are out there, sales is really a transfer of emotion. It is a transfer of energy. It always has been. So we wanted to bring Martin on to inspire you to kick things off for season 3. So listeners, I hope you do feel inspired, and I hope you are ready to take action. I know that I feel 100% better after this episode. I think Steve and I are both looking like that yellow ball that Martin showed us. Both of our faces are glowing like that yellow ball. So Martin, I want to thank you because you've helped us solve the sales problem. You've given our listeners some knowledge they need to thrive and succeed. You've helped them grow by enhancing what they know. Listeners, we love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Don't forget the Sales Problem 15. Go get yourself some crank coffee and crank it up this year. We'll see you next episode. And until then, keep building the best version of you.